After entering a bank robber into Miss America, Amenadiel is dealing with some premature emasculation while Lucifer looks for his mom in the grocery store that is Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Chloe has to decide whether or not she wants to see the magic trick of Christianity, and Mazikeen does some soul-searching with a hot blonde. Also, Detective Douche isn't in prison. Go figure. All this and more in tonight's Lucifer After Show here at AfterBuzz TV for the Season 2 premiere. Everything's Coming Up Lucifer.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's a little OG right now. I like it.
Yeah, can we cue the fog machines?
Yeah.
420 blaze it. All right, guys, welcome to the after show.
Already did.
Here at AfterBuzz TV for Lucifer, guys. We are here for Season 2.
Woo woo, we're
The
back.
premiere of Season 2.
Yes.
We are
long
so glad
awaited.
this show, of course, got a second season. If you guys didn't tune in, during the break, we had an interview with Joe Henderson, the showrunner, and he answered a few of our questions. But now we're slowly starting to see the answers to the questions we had that he couldn't answer. But thank you for tuning in. Of course, this is the after show for Season 2, Episode 1. Everything's Coming Up Lucifer.
Yep.
Dave Child will not be joining us this season because work did not allow him to make the after show. But I am not alone. We are sans one person. Alicona Bradford will be joining the panel, but we do have the amazingly wonderful Samantha Benitz.
Woohoo! I'm back in action, guys. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz, Benitz.
And the super awesome power trio that is Lacretia Lyon.
Hey guys.
Or Lion.
Either way works. Just like me.
Fancy.
But yeah, you guys can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And now that we know how to spell
it, Joe.
There you go.
Yep.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHNLEMIUX. You know, let's get our spelling.
Just all spell it.
So we had lots and lots and lots of terrible, terrible jokes last season
Yes.
that I don't even remember, and I kind of want to like look them up or see if anyone in the live chat remembers some of the terrible things that we said, like movie sequels and stuff. We do get a throwback in this episode to the Hot Tub Teacher or whatever
Yeah.
it was called. Hot Tub High School, I think, was the name of it, and it's like within the first 5 minutes of the episode. But so we get what? Let's start this off right off the bat. What did you guys think of the episode? Sam, you go first.
I liked it a lot. The humor was on point. There was a lot of times I felt like I was laughing, and I like how they always utilize puns and do that. And I like how they tease the mom coming in. They didn't really drop her in immediately. I was kind of hoping that they weren't going to just start it off and then we were going to have to adjust to a new character. It was kind of cool to see some of the things still going on from last season and then still getting some answers. So I think there's a lot more that I want to see, but it was a good start.
I thought the episode was really funny, like, you know, most of them have been, and they keep in line with the good humor, especially the scene with him and the young girl, and he's, like, freaking out, like, thinking it's his mother. That was hilarious. And the whole theme of the episode was mommy issues, very much like last year you'd have the daddy issues one, and it always ties back to the case, which, you know, is a pretty good way of setting it up.
Yeah. I have to actually disagree with you guys on, not on the episode being good, I mean on the girl making out with him. I think as soon as she like jumped on him and doing that, I think he immediately knew it wasn't his mom.
Yeah.
I don't think he was freaked out because it was somebody who thought it was his mom. I think he was freaked out because it was an underage girl jumping on him and trying to make out with him.
And then Chloe walks in, and that's not a good look.
Yeah. Whoops. I think it was a very good premiere. I'm excited to see where they go. I'm glad they didn't jump the mom on us right off the bat, and I'm glad this case didn't really have anything to do with the mom at all. If that makes sense. There's definitely gonna be some interesting things going on. I think one of the biggest questions last season was why is Lucifer losing his powers around Chloe? And I think one of the biggest questions this season is going to be why is Amenadiel now losing his powers now that their mother is in town, which we don't know if it's caused by that, but we're only left to assume any of the reasons why Amenadiel is suffering from premature emasculation.
Yes.
Why do you guys think so? Why is he losing his power? In my opinion, it's like he must be being prone to Earth for too long. It's like the more human you become, then you lose your powers. That's my guess.
Yeah, to me, he really wasn't seeing that until he started having feelings for other people like Maze, and it could have something to do with her bringing him back with the feather and things like that. I feel like the feather issue will be brought up again, so it may tie into Amenadiel losing his powers.
So do you think Amenadiel lost his powers because of somebody, or do you think Amenadiel lost his powers because he shirked his duties and Mom got out of the prison and God is taking away his powers?
B.
Yeah, you think...
Yeah, God could be punishing him.
Because he doesn't seem to really have a purpose right now. Because his purpose in season 1 was bringing Lucifer back to hell. So now things have kind of... The paradigm has switched in that Amenadiel's purpose at the moment... Exactly, there's nothing. Because he already failed to get Lucifer to go back to hell. Lucifer burned his wings. And Amenadiel hooked up with Mazikeen. And then his whole goal was like, okay, well, let me do this very crazy plot by using creepy detective dude to kill Lucifer so then he goes back to hell, which backfired, and now God has entrusted Lucifer with the task of getting Mom back into hell. So Amenadiel's kind of left to the wayside, and Lucifer is more on a mission from God. Not to quote Blues Brothers, but he's on a mission from God.
Well, and to me, it's like Lucifer, you see in the previews as the season goes on, there's a lot of jokes about him praying and wanting to talk with God. So I think that is where they're leading, is he's getting this better relationship with Dad, because, it's now dealing more with the mother issues, and he's getting a greater purpose, like helping solve these cases with Chloe. And then we're seeing more of the existential crisis this season with Amenadiel.
So here's another great prediction that Boo69Bs in the chat said is he's losing his power maybe because angels aren't supposed to have sex, especially with demons.
Yeah, that might do it to you. I don't know. That probably doesn't sit too well with God. He's like, here, I sent you on a mission. You're going a little astray. But, that's why I see more this season a relationship with Lucifer and God, once again, like you said, because he's solving the cases. He seems to actually be able to fall in love. Like, just the way he talks to Chloe and the fact that he wouldn't sleep with her last season kind of leaves that door open to a more solid relationship this season. Well,
let's talk a little bit about the relationship with Lucifer and God at the moment. So Lucifer has been entrusted a task by God to get his mom to go back to hell.
Right.
Without saying it, they've kind of told us that that's what his mission is. We don't for sure know that God has asked him to do that. We only know that God has shown him that his mom had escaped.
Right.
We don't know the circumstances around her escaping. We don't know if she was chased out of hell, or we don't know if something attacked her in hell which forced her to escape. So they do a great thing in this show where they take a character and they make it seem like it's one way and then it's a complete other way. They built it up in this episode by having the mom, you're thinking that she's trying to kill Lucifer. You're thinking that she's going to take revenge on Lucifer, and then it turns around that she needs his help because obviously she's in dire straits, which is an interesting take on it. So we also learn through Lucifer talking about his parents that Lucifer is kind of just the son stuck in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Because we get the whole kind of backstory spark notes where it says that God and Mom were totally hitting it off. They had some chemistry. They hooked up, banged a bunch of times, created the universe on accident. Whoops.
Big Bang Theory.
Sexually transmitted universes. And then God was like, you're fat, or I don't like you anymore, and started dealing with Earthlings. And then the mom was like, well, what the F, man? I need
attention. I'm your wife.
Yeah, what the hell, brah? And then she starts doing stuff and messing with humanity. So God's like, get down into hell. I'm going to put you in a prison cell. This is not a very healthy relationship.
No.
And meanwhile, Lucifer had already been sent down to hell, and the mom didn't do anything to stop God from sending Lucifer into hell. So Lucifer has this built-up teen angst against his mom for not speaking up, and then he in turn was like, screw you, Mom, I'm not going to help you when you get sent down to hell. So, there's all this going on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, now Lucifer thinks that she's going to kill him, and then when he finds out at the end that she's not going to kill him and she needs his help, so it just kind of leaves you wondering, okay, what the hell is going on?
To me, I feel that, much like God's plan, Lucifer never really understands. I think he first thought, okay, he wants me to put her back there. But I think that he wants Lucifer to mend fences with his mother. And that was really why he was showing that she escaped from hell. Because who knows? Maybe even God had a part in that.
Well, it's weird because from everything he says, it seems like God just really don't give a.
Yeah.
Like it seems like he just don't care. Like
Just
he's
cast
just like,
him out, done with you.
Whatever.
So the whole concept of that, like I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna see a gestation of God. Like is there going to be a person who represents God in this show at one point? I don't know. Because if the mom can be down there in a human form, Lucifer can be down there in a human form, like what's to say you don't get like Gary Busey showing up? I'm God.
That would be awesome since David Bowie is unfortunately dead. And I think he would have been one of the choices for God because David Bowie was sort of the inspiration for the drawing of the Lucifer character. So that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been a great.
It's got to be
Maybe
somebody
hologram.
funny because the whole show has such a humorous undertone. I just can't imagine them not choosing somebody that would help the theme go along. And I don't know. I feel like we're going to see a lot more from the mom, you know, given that she's now down in hell and that she didn't help in the first place. She probably didn't want to step on God's toes, seeing how he is, if he has this sort of temper. And now she's down there and she's feeling the wrath because it looks like she was bleeding in the scene, right? So she's obviously wounded and doesn't seem to have any sort of power. So do you feel like she is going to be ultimately powerful down there, or now is she going to be exposed just like Lucifer when he's around Chloe?
Well, that's the question. I mean, there's so many questions we can ask because this is a premiere of a second season. Because you could take it two different ways. You could say, okay, she's hurt because someone has attacked her, or you could say she was hurt because she has a needle in her hand and she literally just went into the body of a heroin addict who overdosed, who just died.
Or she could be playing it too, like, ow.
Yeah, she could be completely playing Lucifer for that while doing something else. What I'm curious to see is if they're going to take this season as a step forward into a larger conspiracy that encompasses humanity, hell, and heaven, and God, and move it into like a 4 or 5 kind of season arc where we have like an overarching thing that's moving forward throughout these seasons, or if Lucifer and Mom is going to be just this one kind of season thing where she's going to either go away, not forever, but just kind of like her story is kind of done at the end of the season. And I think until we are 3 or 4 episodes in, we won't really get the pacing to know where they're going.
Right.
But I think it could go either way. You know, obviously Mazikeen's a demon. Obviously there's lots of other demons out there, I would assume. So, I don't know. We learned last season that humanity, some vestiges of humanity know about the powers of God and know that there's items that have attached importance upon them. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could go on. I really think Amenadiel is going to be one of the clues to see what the hell is actually happening right now. Because this is happening after he hooked up with Mazikeen. Because when demons and angels interact, you never know. But we're to assume Lucifer's hooked up with Maze a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't lose his powers because of it, and he is an angel. But he is, albeit, a fallen
angel, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the case of the week. So the case of the week this week is a stand-in for an actress, which... It's funny because watching this show in Los Angeles, everything is so much easier to understand than anywhere else. Because like, oh, that term, I recognize it. Oh, yeah, that term, I know what a stand-in is. Oh, yeah, they're on the Warner Brothers lot. Great, okay, cool. Trailer, yeah. There's Coke in the trailer, yeah, that's normal.
That's no biggie, yeah.
Stand-in's murdered. She's got big rebar horns sticking out of her head, which I found it quite funny that they were from flamingos.
Yes.
That was kind of good. And her name's Jillian. So I thought interesting that they're going to have the stand-in killed because I was just feeling something from Amy the entire time, you know. But I always know with this show that they're going to go astray with whoever the killer actually is. It's never who you think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, Stephen yelled it out
but
when we were
it's not
watching
like the ones they want you to think. It's like the first guy they introduce after saying, okay, and this guy did this. And then they'll show a... You know,
I should
jump
just
cut
shut
there.
up during the show because, like, as soon as the homeowner's on, oh, she did it.
Exactly.
You guys are like, yeah.
He literally calls it out every time.
Well, she had plastic flamingos, and as I always say, people that are really into birds are weird.
Well, I just thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought just her character itself was weird because she has access to the person's house. She has access to her living situation. I was thinking it was going to be like something where the girl was like squatting in her apartment and she wanted to get rid of her.
So
But just
LA.
as soon as they took the cash out from under the couch, I was like, okay, this is definitely the homeowner because she would have found that. She would, yeah. So we're working with this case. They're trying to figure out what's going on. We learn that there's a backstory where Amy was drug addict, and Jillian was like her person they hired to stick with her to make sure she didn't use drugs, and there was just
sober person.
discord. They changed drug dealers. There was 2 drug dealers. One was angry that they left. The other one was a dude who put devils on the bags, leading Lucifer down his wild goose chase.
Yeah, it's copyright infringement.
What do you think of Lucifer's paranoia around anything surrounding the devil, thinking that it's his mom?
I like it right now. It's kind of good to see him on edge because he's always so confident and cocky. It's nice to see him in a different demeanor. And given that his mom's here and we don't really know what she's capable of, and just the kind of lines he drops, how he says, oh, you know, if she doesn't want to kill me, then I don't know what she wants. And all we know is the backstory, and she kind of seems a little bit scary. But then at the other end, since the first case wasn't her, I have a feeling she's not here to harm Lucifer, but probably benefit off of his help.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that the mom has a bad motive for Lucifer yet. I mean, I feel like initially, because, I mean, if you're in that situation, a mother coming back, she probably does want to mend fences with her son. But she also probably doesn't really know him either, so who knows if she's going to like him. I mean, you're both adults. You don't always like your kids later. You love them, but you don't like them.
Why do you have to, like, look at me when you say that, too?
Because you go, what the hell? I was like, hey, some people don't like their children.
Again, you're looking at me! That is messed
I'm looking
up.
at Samantha now.
Oh my God! Look at this. Look what I have to deal with, guys. No, so that's the case. They're working it out. They come to the realization that it was a drug dealer scorned. Lucifer remembers the posters on the wall from the show, and that the woman had the thing on her thing. Knows that it's her. Goes and confronts her. Gets his ass beat because Chloe's right outside the door. Because like it's kind of, it reminds me of the X-Files episode where there's 2 people who are like complete twins of each other whose lives are just very different by like very marginal things, and disasters appear every time they get close together, but like fate is like drawing them together as soon as they met. So like Chloe is just always going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time if it has to do with Lucifer.
Yes.
So we had to turn on closed captioning to figure out what he's saying, because you're like he's like sounding like I was going to make a Breaking Bad reference, but whatever. I mean, you could make a good Breaking Bad reference about this episode.
Yes.
I forgot where it was. I wrote it down. Anyway, he's like, don't tell anyone I died this morning.
Yeah, how pitiful that would be. She was ruthless too. She was just that pitchfork thing. I'm like, oh man.
And I love now that Chloe has something she can laugh at about Lucifer and use it against him from time to time. Like, remember that time you got beat up by an old lady?
Oh yeah, the Breaking Bad reference, going to the AA meeting to buy drugs.
Yes.
Okay, Jesse Pinkman selling drugs at AA. Like, right.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. You can find your consumer base pretty easily.
There's a AA meeting just down the street.
Yeah, there is. Actually.
Don't do it, people.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Morals down the drain for people who do that. So yeah, they get in a fight. I love how she tases him, and then he grabs the taser gun and like tases her some more.
Yeah, like one more.
And that's kind of the case of the week. But through the case of the week, we're introduced to a brand new character. She's played by Amy Garcia. And I'm going to look up the character's name.
Ella Lopez.
Oh, we did get the name. Okay, I didn't catch the name for some reason.
We got Ella.
Ella Lopez. I love Amy Garcia
Yeah.
in anything she's in.
I know. I loved her tonight, and I thought it was so funny just the way she dealt with him when he was like, oh, I'm Lucifer Morningstar, and she was like, oh, yeah, like nothing fazed her, and I like the way she responded to the God question as well when Chloe asked her later, so I like her character a lot. I think she's going to be super dynamic and helpful this season.
Yeah, I really loved Amy Garcia when I saw her on Dexter, so it was really cool to see her come into this show because she just has that little kindness about her, that ingenue that I felt like this show needed because, you know, we have Trixie sometimes, but to have this character who's unfazed by Lucifer, even was like, are you a method actor? That was pretty funny, calling him out.
Epic, yeah.
But yeah, she's going to be the one that I feel like he'll want to talk to because she has this faith that he doesn't understand, even though he knows it's real.
I think she's going to be the one human to know that he's actually the devil. Because I think right now it's one of the things the show's missing. Dan has some kind of idea that he's like weird, but like Chloe just won't believe it. We'll delve into her character in a minute here. But Amenadiel and Mazikeen are really the only people who are around, and now his mother, who know that he's really the devil.
Right.
But you can't let Chloe know because I mean, it wouldn't be any fun to let her know. You can't let Dan know completely because it's just kind of, it's Dan, he's Detective Douche. You don't want to, you don't have to deal with those two characters. So bringing in this character who's just so laissez-faire about these kind of things, I feel like she would know and she wouldn't really care. She would be like, yes, you're that, well, so what? Okay, cool, that's great.
And she doesn't need proof. You know, she's all about faith. So the fact that she's like that, she's not going to need anything, you know, set in stone for her to believe. She's probably just going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, but I think I think she's going to be the one person who sees with beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is Satan. I think that would be the interesting thing. Have the person who's the Christian but also sows doubt be the one to find out of the existence of Lucifer.
Yeah, but then that would give her 100% confirmation that there's a God too. So I think that might be a little hard because she's very, I don't need proof to believe in God.
Tell me, Sam, if Satan walked through the door right now and said, hey, I'm Satan, and actually looked like Satan, does that give you proof there's a God? It doesn't. It just
I'd
gives
be
you
pretty darn sure. I'd be like, okay, if that half of the story's true, I'm going to guess.
You never know. St. Nicholas might be real.
He might be.
If Satan's real, you know what? Santa Claus is real. Easter Bunny is real.
It's all real. The Easter Bunny,
all
the
real.
Tooth Fairy.
It's either all of it or none of it. So yeah, I like this character. I think it's kind of a very quirky character to add into a show like this. The atmosphere in the show changes a lot when she's on camera. Like, it feels like you're watching a different show, kind of, because you go into, like, the NCIS thing, and you're like,
true.
wait, the NCIS thing, and then she's joking around, and you're like, oh, this is like the NCIS meets...
Bones or something. You know, one of the more Castle. I mean, even Toke said, Lucifer's just Castle with the devil, but it's fun.
I mean, it kind of is. And watching this episode, I kind of came to that realization, like, a lot of people originally wanted to watch this show as, like, oh, this is going to be just like the comics. Oh, is this going to be this? This is going to be that. And it's like, no, it's really just a spin on a new procedural. I mean, which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, I loved Monk. I loved Burn Notice. Everything just kind of has a spin, and it's just going to be like the case of the week with the added story arc that goes over towards the season. I like that, though. I think the show can survive on that, obviously.
Yeah, because to me, and I feel, you know, because I'm a comic book reader myself, and I was familiar with the Lucifer comic, but to me, it's like, when I first watched the show, I'm like, oh, it's a procedural. It's not a comic book show. It's not the same thing. And, you know, some people can't step away from that, but to me, as long as it's enjoyable, I don't care how closely it relates to the comic.
Yeah. And it mixes in the supernatural, so I feel like it kind of appeals to a lot of different audiences. And it's funny, which I think is like the best way to do this show. If it wasn't, I feel like it could borderline go cheesy, but because they use the comedy to push it along, it just goes really seamlessly to me.
So while we're on the topic of Lucifer, we can talk about how he's blaming everyone except himself, even when it's like laid in front of him that he should blame himself. But realistically speaking, what could Lucifer blame himself for everything that's going on?
For not watching over hell and letting all this happen up here.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Yeah,
the
but I mean,
job.
that's like you're like being like nitpicky, right?
Yeah, I mean, God did bestow this job to him. I mean, in hell, Amenadiel's been jealous about it for like centuries, you know, for as long as they've been doing this. And so I think that's the thing, is everyone but Lucifer sees that it's like, you're kind of being a baby.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Moving on to Amenadiel, we talked a little bit about him. He tried to sneak into the police station to take care of the blood.
It's caught.
His powers stopped halfway through getting near the blood. We see it at the end where he's trying to use his powers. They don't last very long when he's alone even, so we know that it's not something that was in the police station.
Yeah, because I think they led you to believe initially that it might have something to do with Chloe because it was Chloe's desk, but then when you see it later, you're like, oh, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So my question, do you think this is an outside influence, like his mom being outside of hell? Do you think this is him being punished by God? Or do you think it's just him, because he doesn't have a purpose, like mentally, he just is unable to use his powers?
Yeah.
Like, do you think they're throwing us for a run here? Like, and it's just kind of a mental thing with him?
It could be the yips, you know, and that's what it, you know, athletes get it. You know, it is sort of funny to apply like real life things. So that may be Amenadiel's issue. It's like, you know, he's so in his head, you know, his mom's loose, Maze was gone, so can't use his powers.
Just suffering for some premature ejaculation.
Yep.
I like where you're going with that. I feel like it's a disconnect with God and he's upset. So the more you astray from the path that I sent you on, the less I'm going to help you. You can go down that road. I can imagine God saying that, but good luck. You're not going to have my powers down there.
So what do we get when we have an Amenadiel without powers?
Just a hot guy.
Yeah, I was about to say hot chocolate, but I didn't.
Oh my god. Y'all have the majority on this. I can't say anything.
Maze will be just fine.
Yep.
No, but I mean, you take this character, every time he makes an appearance, he's using his powers. He's very, like, he likes to be the majestic one in the room. He's like, I'm going to fly in here, and it's going to be in slow motion. Michael Bay will be directing my entrance, and J.J. Abrams will be lighting it. Like, what do you do with a character who's so boastful in that regard, who's so prideful in that he's an angel, he is the one of just, and take away his powers, what does he become?
Oh, he's going to get really sad, I feel like, down the line. He's going to start feeling self-conscious. He's going to wonder what his motive is. And I feel like that'll kind of lead him down a bad path for a little bit. Just because he's going to get so helpless and feel so upset because that's his identity. And when he doesn't have that anymore, who is he? Just like we're asking.
Yeah, to me with Amenadiel, it's like, being that we're in LA, there's so many funny ways that could go with his downfall, because I'd like to see him get humbled, because I love him, and I know he banged 2 Slayers, but it's like, dude, you know, you got to go through the humbling. You can go get him a card, start selling ceramics on Venice Beach. That's the stuff I'd want to see, you know, him just sort of finding himself.
So where I kind of see this going is the powers that be, pun intended, I think we're going to draw... We've gotten Amenadiel and Lucifer a little too close. I think we need to draw some boundaries here, and I think the mom is a great way to do that through a combination of him losing his powers subtly. He's not lost them completely. The mom coming into the fray, Amenadiel and Lucifer both wanting and knowing the importance of getting the mom back to hell. Amenadiel putting God's word, hallelujah, on high, and always on a pedestal. No matter what God wants, God gets, right? For Amenadiel, that's true, correct?
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. So now we have God insinuating, not directly saying, Mom escaped, get her back to hell. We only know that God tipped him off that she escaped. We don't know that he wants to get her back. But that's what they're assuming. So now Amenadiel's on this assumption that God wants me to get her back into hell. He's also on this assumption that he's kind of failed God in a way because his mission is moot. And then you have Lucifer, who has Mom come to her door, to his door, completely like drained, asking for help. So what's going to happen when Lucifer decides to help Mom and Amenadiel wants to send her back to hell? Now we have a conflict with these characters, and Amenadiel is struggling with the loss of his powers, and he's trying to fight against Lucifer to send her back to hell because he wants to be seen better in the eyes of God again. Lucifer doesn't care really what God thinks. Lucifer will do what he wants regardless, and Amenadiel is going to call him out on that. So we have a lot of interesting potential for story development within these characters.
Right.
And I think it would be kind of a cool thing for it to be Amenadiel's just mentality that's making him lose his powers. That's my hope. I don't know. You guys...
We'll see.
Yeah, because I feel like, you know, if he always does what God says, maybe this is God's test of, hey, well, maybe you need to think up for yourself, Amenadiel. And this situation with Mom, you know, he and Lucifer are going to disagree. And so that'll be something to open up where they're going to go with this and who's right, who's wrong, where does Mom need to be, if she even needs to be anywhere.
Yeah. My assumption is Lucifer is going to want to take her back, and she's going to do some type of pity party. I need help. And then that's going to make him...
Why won't you help me?
And he's going to be feeling bad because of all the years he wasn't there for her. So finally it's going to pull at his heartstrings because Dr. Linda's been helping him.
Oh, Dr. Linda. You think Dr. Linda will be helping his mom, too?
Oh, yeah. I think she's going to be surfacing everybody by now. Like, because Amenadiel... yeah, wow, that was dirty.
Phrasing!
Yeah.
Phrasing!
Well, I mean, her and Lucifer, and people are speculating about her and Maze. Now it's Amenadiel's
I don't know if
turn.
she'll get with Amenadiel,
Yeah.
though, because of his problem with premature ejaculation.
Yeah, she can help him with that.
Oh, my God. So... We've talked about all that. We would be remiss not to mention the scene where Amenadiel is like, all right, Chloe, I'm going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
And he shoots himself, and it's like commercial, and then he comes back, and he's bleeding, and he's like looking at her, he's like, it's a blood pack and a bulletproof vest. It's totally fine. Lucifer is a magician. He plays with, what is it called? I have it in my notes where he tells her, and he's just all about, like,
illusion. I can't remember the exact phrase, but yeah, he's basically talking how he's like a magician.
It's basically like the mentalist or a psych, you know, what they did. Being a fake sort of psychic is what he's claiming he is. And I'm trying to think of the actual
There we go.
term.
He tells her everything Lucifer does is a performance. He says he practiced neurolinguistic programming, and he's like, and the brother thing, adoption. Come on, you're being stupid, Chloe. How can you believe any of this garbage? So he's kind of just basically trying to throw her off the path because he really doesn't want her to test that blood because he knows that he can't get it out of her office now.
Yeah. And interesting, but it's only in the trash. So unless they get rid of it by the next episode, then I'll know for sure it's over with the blood. But part of me thinks,
if they're gonna do something.
ooh, maybe Ella will test it because she'll see like a little, I don't know.
I don't think it'll be Ella. I think it's going to be Dan.
Yeah.
Because Dan... So let's talk about Detective Douche. This is our segment called Detective Douche is a Douche. So Detective Douche doesn't go to jail.
Yeah.
Because they sweep everything under the rug because the gun that it was just falsely putting evidence in. Whatever. It's not like it was used to shoot anyone anyway. Oh, wait, it was.
But it was just Malcolm. Fuck that guy.
I know. Fuck that guy.
Whoops.
So Detective Douche and Chloe are still at odds. They're kind of like iffy. He does mention Trixie in the episode. He's like, well, is it going to be better for Trixie if I go away, or is it better if I'm out? And she's like, okay, yeah, whatever. You didn't have a choice, but you could have chose. So they're kind of at odds still, and at the end of the episode, she throws away the blood vial, and then they look at each other. She goes one way, he goes the other way. So he could very easily double back and go back into her office to grab the blood.
Yeah, and I feel that that's something that Detective Douche would do. And I don't so much hate on Dan. I feel like his motives are good, but what he does is kind of off. But, I mean, no fun if characters are all good anyway. But, yeah, I feel that he will try to test the blood, and he'll try to tell Chloe, and she's not going to believe Dan.
Yeah, he's going to try to get back in her good graces because that was really his motive all last season. And then when he couldn't really do it at the end, I mean, he somewhat did for Coming Clean, but I mean, now with this season, you can see there's all this like subtext because they're looking at each other across the room. Yeah, and they don't say anything.
From across the room.
Yeah, we work together, but we won't speak. So, their dynamic is really interesting. But because he sees that Lucifer is always around his woman who he clearly wants to rekindle this flame with, then... I don't know. I imagine that he would have an intention to do that. So you guys are probably right on the Detective Douche testing the blood.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's just testing the waters. By waters, I mean the blood. Because you know what? When my ex-girlfriend throws away blood vials in the trash, I just have to go grab them and test them. I got to be like, shit.
Yeah, what does she have, man?
Maybe Dan really wants to know what STDs
Finally
Lucifer
get
has.
the truth. There's no lying around this one.
I know, right? So moving on to the next character, let's talk about Chloe. Chloe is in that weird position where she just won the grand prize, and they're like, come on down, see how the magic tricks are performed. And she's like, do I wanna? She has the blood vial. She doesn't know whether to test it or not. She's trying to figure out whether she should test it or not because she's afraid of what she might see because she's seen the things Lucifer has done. She's seen him throw somebody through a window. She's seen him totally ruin somebody's mind who's still in prison, remember, so hopefully we'll get him back. And she's seen him take a bullet and live through it and be healed in the next 2 days. So what did you kind of think of this storyline with Lucifer's trying to figure out why his mother's coming, and Chloe's trying to figure out whether or not she wants to pull the Band-Aid off and find out who he is?
I wish she would. It bothers me that she's so curious a person and then she just, whatever. I'm like, that doesn't fit with you. You are Miss, I want to figure out everything. I want to dig to the bottom. And I don't know, just the fact that she doesn't want to know the truth kind of irks me because here it is. It's like, here's the lie detector test. Do you want the results? And no, I'm not interested, and that was why they had that conversation with Ella, I feel like, because otherwise that wouldn't have made sense, because I feel like she wants to know, and how could you spend so much time with somebody and not want to know their background, at least somewhat?
She needs the eggs.
Yeah, and there it is. So there's the little egg story.
It's weird because I kind of liken their dynamic now to, like, a married couple where the wife knows her husband's cheating but doesn't have evidence. Where it's kind of like she's just sticking with him because she doesn't want to know, but she could know, but she doesn't want to because she needs the eggs. She just wants to be comfortable.
Right.
Or, take it vice versa. The woman's cheating and the guy knows, but he doesn't really want to go through that or a divorce, so he just kind of goes with it. I mean, it's kind
denial.
of... Denial. Yeah, it's kind of like a same dynamic because I feel like she's really in that denial period right now because, I mean, he's done so much that you're kind of like, all right.
I'd be like, okay, this fool's Lucifer. Let's just settle with it. I don't have to say it to anybody, but use your little horns and your little eye trick and let's go do some work.
I know, but can you really like put yourself in her shoes? Mm-hmm. You have Satan. You're literally partnered with Satan.
But he seems pretty cool. Like, that's the interesting thing is when you're hanging out.
That's how they get you to smoke marijuana, Samantha.
I know, right?
It's like, for madness.
A little puff puff with the devil. I know. I don't know. I find him endearing. So because he's like that and he hasn't really been cruel to anybody good so far, I haven't felt the devilish tendencies from him to the point where I want to hate him.
But as a cop, his methods are
unconventional,
completely unconventional, completely like messed up. So if she has, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is Satan, every step of the way she's going to be like, "Oh, don't kill this guy. Oh, don't do this. Oh, don't do that." Like it just takes away the eggs. She needs the eggs.
Yeah, and I love that lame joke that she used, and it really showed a little fun side of Chloe, and sort of a metaphor for their relationship is that she knows in the back of her mind that all this is true, but she really can't admit it because it would sort of destroy her credibility as a cop. I mean, there's so much involved with that as well. And, you know, she doesn't want it to be true, even though, yes, he's Satan and he's really not that bad of a guy. But it's like,
hey, Mom, this is my boyfriend Satan. He's great.
And Trixie, come here and take a picture with him. He's, you know, that's the thing. She puts herself in a vulnerable position because she's got a moral career and she's a mother and she's got this like guy also on the sideline. So a lot to lose.
The real question is if Tom Ellis walked into a room and said, "I know who you really are," would you like just jump him right there? Or?
Yeah. I don't think so. I'd be like, oh, who am I? Tell
me.
Yeah.
Please, I want to know.
Tell me, Satan.
Sing to me with your piano of devilish finger tickling of the ivories. Where was your mind going with that? So we get Tom Ellis. We get the montage. We're gonna need a montage. So obviously, let's get some All Along the Watchtower a la piano.
That was nice.
With Lucifer singing. What do you guys think of the song? Did you think it came out of left field, or do you think it was like, okay, par for the course?
To me, the song was very fitting, and I loved hearing it just piano because I'm used to the Hendrix version, Zach Brown. I've heard so many versions of the songs, but it's still just such a good song, even without the lyrics. And it fit the episode. It was a good way of tying it all together. I
gotta say, the Dave Matthews cover of All Along the Watchtower is one of my favorites. Super good. What about you? What did you think of the singing?
I mean, I liked the singing. I thought the song came a little out of left field for me just because I didn't understand why he'd want to go play. I was waiting for some like big emotional moment, and then I didn't really feel like the transition where in some episodes prior I can tell like, okay, he's gone through a lot. He's just going to go sulk and, you know, lose himself for a minute. But this was a little like, oh, okay.
That would have been a good song.
Yeah, right. Wait, what song?
If like we just montage to Lucifer. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are ready.
Mom's kidding.
Have you seen? There's an Eminem. Somebody took that song and just like edited it so every other word is mom spaghetti.
Oh God,
it's
yes.
so good. Just look up Eminem mom spaghetti. It's hilarious.
I know that lyric just sticks for some reason.
Yeah, everyone in the chat really liked the singing. They really liked the song. I think it's really funny that I feel like people are watching the show and they're like, oh, I like this song. What is this song?
I didn't know it was him who was singing. I thought they were just playing it in the background.
No, but I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people today who watch the show and have never heard All Along the Watchtower.
Which is really
weird.
catchy.
Yeah.
Oh man, so what are we missing? Let's talk about Psychiatrist and Mazikeen. I think it's funny that Mazikeen comes back just to throw the boyfriend down the stairs, take away the knife, tie him up, and then tease him about torturing him. Then he gets like feathered and thrown out after she's like playing with a taser gun. Lots of tasers this episode.
Yeah.
But she tells Lucifer she needs to do some soul searching. And he's like, wait, are you tracking him down to kill him? Or
yeah, like what's going on?
And at this point, we're all just like, oh, she's with the psychiatrist.
It's so obvious, and how she showed her love to the psychiatrist tonight when she walked into the club and it was like a big joyous hug. I'm like, Mazikeen, you little devil! Like she looks so happy. I've never seen her have that expression for anybody. She's just cold and hardened all the time.
Yeah, I mean, even with Amenadiel, she was opening up a little bit, but with Dr. Linda, you know, she's got a friend. I mean, whether they're sleeping together or not, I know some people hope that that is true. It was just nice to see this part of Maze. I wasn't sure that we were going to see her in this episode and explain where she'd been, but it was good to see that, oh, she'd been going to therapy with Dr. Linda.
I did like the line from Lucifer when he's talking to Mazikeen, and he says something about whatever the word was, and he's like, I just imagined you with my mother. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
You get bedfellows, something
Bedfellow,
about
yeah, bedfellows. We do also learn that Mazikeen was the one who was torturing his mom for all time. So you're going to have Lucifer helping, and you're going to have a lot of tension between her and his mom. So that's kind of where we're really left off. She shows up to the door, and we get in the scenes. If you don't watch the scenes, you can tune out now. But the scenes of basically she has a wounded bird story. She headbutts Mazikeen, and she wants help from Lucifer. And she says that she's not going to do anything wrong.
clearly
Super
foreshadowing, yeah.
So let's move into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Who wants to start?
predictions.
You look eager right here.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I feel that Mazikeen and his mom, I mean, we know that she tortured her. It's just, I bet that there's going to be sexual tension. I don't know why I feel that way, but I think mom may swing the other way. No, you know, she's cast out by God, and you can't really come back from that.
I mean, you can.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't already, please go to iTunes, rate us 5 stars, leave us a comment. Those are great. I'm going to search them right now in case anyone did on the off season. But yeah, also if you are kind of trying to get more information on this season, you can watch the interview we did with the showrunner between the seasons, Joe Henderson. That's also on iTunes. It's also on YouTube, so check that out. We also tweeted it out a few days ago.
Yep.
But where was I going with this? I've kind of predicted all episode. You go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the mom's going to be the interesting character this season to kind of switch everything up. I see Amenadiel losing a lot more power as he goes along. I feel he's going to become more corrupt. Since he's already lying to Chloe on behalf of Lucifer and kind of made that choice, that's going to bring an interesting dynamic between those two characters as well. I think Lucifer and Chloe are going to be getting closer, but I don't know how the mom is going to feel about Chloe. I also see some tension coming there because a mom's going to be very picky who her son ends up with on Earth, and the fact that she's just immortal probably in her mind, that's not going to sit well with her. And if Chloe wants something done to the mom as far as when she believes that his mom is actually out and about and could be wreaking havoc, then that would be awesome as well. I'd love to see that.
Okay, I think Amenadiel's going to find out about Dr. Linda, and he's not going to be happy with her, and he's going to try to tell her and interfere with her and Mazikeen, because I think he wants Mazikeen. I think he's kind of come to that realization. I think that Chloe's powers of eliminating your powers will work on Lucifer's mom. And I think that will make Lucifer's mom interested in Chloe. And the more that she's interested in Chloe, the more Lucifer is going to be upset that she's interested in Chloe. So I think that'll be a really interesting dynamic. Aside from that, I think there's a lot more to see on this season of Lucifer. Again, thanks for watching the after show, guys. Please hit that thumbs up on the YouTube video. It keeps us searchable. And if you want us to respond to your comments on YouTube, please post them after the live event has ended because the chat roll doesn't save any of them. So I can shout out you guys. I mean, we got Ivan Soto, Peter D. Supernatural Whovian, Darth Loomis, Renji 90998, Sylvia Love, Ninetail Phoenix, and Go5T. I mean, just Ghost, but I figured I'd say it. Thanks for watching. We have 40 people watching live now, so that's pretty awesome. I'm glad lots more people are watching Lucifer this season. Stay tuning in. We do the after show live on YouTube every Monday night at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it's also up on iTunes Monday later at night or Tuesday morning. So listen to it, watch it, tune in with us. Where can they stay in touch with you guys while you're off the show?
Yeah,
briefly?
and by the way, we're not going to be here next week, right?
Oh yeah,
so
2 weeks.
Come back then, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz, Benitz. Lacretia.
And since I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIUX, as well as doing the South Park after show, which is interesting, and doing Oh, The Strain. Yeah, I've been doing The Strain. Yeah, and then Sleepy Hollow is coming back, but we're gonna kind of turn Sleepy Hollow into more of a comedic podcast because the show is. Yeah.
I'm more interested in that.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Tune in for that, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks for the Lucifer After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. See you then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Premature ejaculation.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.